Hey, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Man, thank you all very, very, very much. Watching the list of happy birthdays add up there in the chat just makes my heart very, very warm. Thank you guys. I love you all very much. I appreciate you all being here. I'm 52 today, man. Who would have thought? 52 years young. Excited for the next 52 or however many years God has left for me on this planet. Looking forward to doing the best that I can, to be the best that I can, and to help as many people as I can. So thank you again for all the happy birthday wishes. And guys, I do want to remind you that, one of the things that I'm putting out to all of my friends, all of on my Facebook, in my Telegram groups, is I don't want any presents today, but I am looking for donations for an incredible young man that I met on this mission trip that I just went on to Mexico last week. So why did I pick this young man? I guess the reason, I can't really explain it. I think God just put him on my heart. And I think that's what God does. God works in mysterious ways. This mission has probably 100 or more people that don't make any money, that just volunteer 100% of their life for this mission. And they're all dependent upon God to provide. And the way that God provides is we are his arms and his legs and his mouth. And in this case, his money. And so God put it on my heart. I worked side by side with this gentleman both days. And I guess, I was just super impressed by his work ethic. I thought to myself, holy smokes, this guy's working for free and he works harder than just about anybody that I've ever worked with that was getting paid even. And just an incredible, just an incredible attitude, a zest for life, and just a heart for helping people. And so I could have chose one of dozens of people that I met on this trip to help. And, I really want to help more of them. But I decided that rather than sending each one of them $5 or $10, that I wanted to try to accumulate a meaningful amount of money for one person at a time. And so this young man, Moro, is a man that I decided to help. I know that his rent is $280 a month, and his overall living expenses for the whole month are about $700. So he lives very, very leanly. And, once again, he doesn't know where it's coming from, but somehow it always ends up coming. So I'm super excited. I've got a $25 donation. One of my friends that's kind of outside of this group just sent me $125 on Venmo for this young man. I've got another friend that just asked me for my Zelle, and I don't know how much he's going to send. I don't really care. $1, $5, $25, $500. It's all relative. And part of the reason that I'm raising the funds, folks, instead of just giving this gentleman the money myself, is twofold. One, I want to raise awareness, and I want to get people learning more about people like him. Two, I want him to see how many people stood up and loved on him and appreciated what I've told you guys enough to step up and donate, even if it's just $1, $5. I mentioned it yesterday on the live stream that in the Bible it says, when it comes to giving, do not tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. In other words, when you give, you want to give in private. You're not giving to put yourself up on a pedestal and to say, hey, look at me, I'm giving. Like, I really don't like some of those YouTube videos and TikTok videos where the person walks around, filming himself giving homeless people money for the clicks, for the views. That's not that's not true giving. Giving is generosity of the heart with expecting nothing in return. And so I'm not shouting out the people that have given on the YouTube channel and telling you all, you know, who they were and how awesome they are, just because I want to, number one, I want to, you know, honor their privacy. It's none of anybody else's business who gave and how much they gave. But I am going to tell this young man when I get ready to send him the money, hey, 10 different people donated, that, you know, God put it on 10 different people's hearts to give you this money. There's 10 people out there that appreciate what you are doing. And so rather than it just coming from me, I want as many of you that want to participate as possible. So it encourages this young man. It inspires him when he's having a tough day, when he's going through a tough season in life. It inspires him to keep going. And I also did offer to match the first $200 worth of donations that come in, and I'm going to do that. So anyways, I don't want to talk, you know, the whole show about giving to other people. We're here. This is a cryptocurrency investing channel, and I want to get into some microcap gems. But I know there's some of you that are struggling in life, and even $1 or $5 is probably more than you feel like you can do, and that's okay. But I also know that there's plenty of you watching this channel that $5 or even $25 isn't going to change your life, but it's changing this young man's life. I believe that from what I've seen so far, we're going to raise enough money to cover this young man's expenses probably for a month. And that's a month of houses that he is going to get to build for underprivileged family. And I'm telling you, when we build these houses, it absolutely changes these people's lives. So just, you know, once again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of the happy birthday wishes. I see some of my favoriteest people in the world here today. I love you guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to add this to the stage. And real quick, this is, I do want to pop something up here so that you guys can actually see a little bit about what I'm talking about here. So we started off, you can see right here in the middle where that guy is standing, that is a concrete slab. Off to the left there where that tarp is, over here in between these two people, that's a pile of lumber. This is my wife taking the picture. That's my big arm sticking out right there. That's my shadow. But this is what we showed up to last Thursday, was just an empty place, a slab of concrete. And then from there, we got dirty. That's me at the end of the first day. I was doing some painting. So that's me at the end of the first day. This is my beautiful wife and I on the way to the job site the next day. But guys, this is the most important picture. Look at that. That's what we built in 2 days. And this is the incredible group of people that I did it with. And then let me see here. Why is Morrow not in this picture? I wanted to show you guys a picture of Morrow so that you would know who your dollars were going to. Somehow Morrow, it looks like, slipped out of the picture. But if you see this gentleman here in the black in the middle and the lady here in the Dodgers shirt, that is the family that we built the home for. And then these two little kids, this little guy here sitting on Charles's lap is little Carlos, 5 years old. And then you can't see her very well, but behind him is little Deana. It was kind of cool that we're building a house and that the little 3-year-old girl's name is Deana, you know, like my wife. But these were some incredible people that really, really blessed this family. And it really put this mission and just being more generous on my heart. I've always been a pretty generous person, but watching the life, the transformation, being able to take a small piece of land like this and turn it into something magnificent and a house for this family, you know, just really made my heart warm. If you're part of if you're part of the Infinite Agape Telegram group, then you can go. Will you guys knock it off? You guys can support this mission, this ministry, donate through these crypto wallets. If you're here in the United States, my Cash App and my Venmo are right here. And then guys, you know, on my channel, if you go to the you know, the description of this right here at the top of this description, well, not at the top, kind of a little ways down. This talks a little bit about it, but this information is right here again. So Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, or Cash App or Venmo. If you know me personally and we have had conversations and you want to do Zelle, or you have some other method that you would like to donate, you know, just get in touch with me. And I've been telling everybody, if you send funds to one of these wallets, please DM me on Twitter or Telegram or Discord. DM me and let me know that you did it, because I'm not checking these wallets all that often. These wallets are just for the donations that are coming in. So anyways, appreciate all of you. And, you know, I'm sure that a few of you that are on this stream today are going to step up and help this young man continue on this incredible mission. So with that, though, let's get into some microcap gems. You know, today is the Fed meeting. I don't know. I think it's coming up here over the next handful of hours. You can see Bitcoin doesn't have any idea what it wants to do. It's holding strong, though, pretty well at between 17 and 18,000. And I have a feeling, look at this little green candle that's starting to develop there. I have a feeling that we're going to get good news today. There's a small chance that we're going to get a rate cut that could be massive. If we get a rate cut, even if it's only 25 basis points, we are going to see a pump in the market. If there is an announcement and the Feds lower the rates, even if they lower them by a small amount. But I think what's more likely, though, is that they're going to basically announce that rate cuts are going to start in September. And that's still going to be huge for crypto. And I think that one of the catalysts, one of the things that we have to look forward to as people that are investing our hard-earned money to try to create some financial freedom in our lives, is that we are finally positioned where over the next 6 months or a year, the Feds here in the United States are going to be lowering the interest rates. And I think that that is going to be incredibly bullish for the markets. So on that note, does anybody have a token that they would like me to take a quick look at? Don't everybody throw one in there all at once. I have a couple of tokens that I wanted to take a peek at, but I wanted to give you guys a chance to really show anything, you know, that, you know, might be on your heart. In the meantime, I mean, this isn't a advertisement for my crypto, but at the same time, while I'm waiting for some of you guys to throw something into the group, you know, I want to show you right now we are on round 4. So round 4 of the nomination process. So right now, if you own 777 in Infinite Agape, you can go ahead and nominate. But I wanted to show you guys some of the tokens. So Floki was the token that won, but some of these other tokens here are pretty interesting. And so I'm not going to go over all of these tokens because we went over a bunch of them last week. But I will show you guys really quickly while I'm waiting for somebody here to throw something into the chat. Oops, need to get on CoinGecko. I nominated this Mind AI, and I didn't really promote it to the group. I'm trying not to promote my nominations out into the YouTube community, because as a founder of the token, I'm okay if I win because you guys researched my token and you voted for it and you just thought it was the best token. But I don't, are you kidding me here? I don't want to win just because I recruited you guys, through my channel and through my socials to win. So I've been kind of doing my nominations anonymously. This was my nomination, though. And this is a token that, in my opinion, has some merit. It's sitting down at an extremely low market cap. Ooh, I haven't. What's going on here? Why is my? Oh, it is changing. Never mind. It's sitting down at a $2 million market cap. So high risk, high reward. I was saying this. Unfortunately, my nomination, although this nomination became public probably about a week ago, so it is up. If anybody went and researched this project and bought it, they are up. They're in the money on this project. If you would have got into it 2 weeks ago when I first nominated it, unfortunately you can't see the nominations until the period is over. But had you known about this token when I did, you would be up about 43% on this over the last couple of weeks. As you guys know, I'm super bullish on AI projects in general. I think that AI is going to be one of the best performing niches inside of crypto, and outside of crypto for that matter. And so anyways, this token can be bought on Uniswap. It can also be bought on PancakeSwap. One of the reasons that I was able to nominate it, where did it go? In order to nominate this thing, it had to have a Binance contract address. I'm trying to figure out when I did this a couple of weeks ago, you could click here and pull up a Binance contract address. I'm trying to figure out where it went. It's not there anymore, but you could buy this token and hold it on, through PancakeSwap on your MetaMask wallet. That's so weird that it's not here now. I wonder if it was some kind of a mistake or something. That's weird. But if you go look at the website, it says, unlock the power of your personal agent with Mind AI. Empower your business with cutting-edge artificial intelligence designed just for you. And you can hit the Get Started button, and you can literally go through and see what this is all about. I'm not going to go through the whole white paper here. But anyways, this is one of the projects that, is on my radar, especially for, microcap gems. Right now, with altcoin season starting to heat up, I think it is a reasonable time to start taking more risk. Now, this is kind of interesting, and I would love, some of you that have been with the channel to maybe weigh in on this a little bit. So we've had Keith from Crypto Bullseye on the channel recently on the Tuesday Traders, and he is an incredible trader, very good technical analysis, really good at looking at the charts and deciphering the next move. He's also got a very, very good strategy, in my opinion, for how he starts off with a little bit of a lower amount of leverage, and then as confirmation is confirmed on the way up, he will increase his leverage and he will increase, the amount that he is putting into the trade. I really like his trading style, but something that him and I, have a little bit of a disagreement on is how long this bull market is going to last. I think that he's under the impression that we're going to get, an 8 to 12 week altcoin season, and then we're going to have hit the peak of the market, and we're going to start trending downward, and we're going to be in a bear market towards the later part of 2025, 26, 27 until the halving again. And I believe, I don't necessarily call it a super cycle, but what I see happening I think we are going to get a little bit longer of an extended altcoin season. Part of the reason for that is it takes a little bit of time for things to develop. Usually after Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, XRP, some of those top 25 tokens have their massive moves. Then you start to get into the mid caps, the stuff that's, ranked from say 50 to 200. The mid caps kind of start to have their day in the sun, like the aerodromes and the Ondos and some of the different projects that are a little bit further down the market cap. And then usually some of these microcap gems move the most violently when it comes altcoin season time for the microcaps, but usually that's right at the end of the altcoin season. You got to get the big moves and the big tokens and the mid caps first. And I think that's going to take a little bit longer than 8 to 12 weeks. I also think that something that is much different today than it was back in the previous bull cycles is the adoption curve. I've mentioned this before. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick and just see what S curve graph. So for those of you that haven't seen this, let me see. Yeah, let's just click. I wonder if I can make this any bigger. There we go. So this S right here looks a little bit different than the traditional S curve graph, but it'll serve a purpose. So if you look at this S curve and you look at it over, say, the last 15 years for crypto, basically the last 15 years in crypto are from January through February here on this chart. So in the last 15 years, we have gone from 0%. If you look here on January on the chart, that's 0% crypto adoption. Here in February, or technically in 2025, we are finally at about 10% in crypto adoption. Now, what happens on this S curve, and this S curve isn't my favorite. I'm going to see if I can find if one of these. So this, I think this S curve, in my opinion, this S curve here, where'd it go? Come on, can you make this bigger for me? Oh, for goodness sakes. This is a better S curve, but it's not showing up. I'm sorry, guys. Let me go back here. S curve graph images. So let's see if this will pull up. Seriously, this is a little bit better. I don't know if you guys can see it as well, but literally we are right about here. See this 10 on the chart? It shows 0, 5, and 10. This 10%, this slow growth, stage 1 slow growth, is where we've been for the last 10 or 15 years. It's taken us this long to get to 10%. But what you see here is stage 2 fast growth, and it rockets all the way up here to around 80%. Hey, babe, I love you too. My sweetheart just stopping by to say I love you and happy birthday. Thank you. I love you too. So right here, from this 10% adoption all the way up to about 80% adoption, that normally happens fairly rapidly. And then it slows down again. So cell phones would be a good example. It took a lot of years for cell phones to develop 10% adoption. And then when cell phones took off, they had an absolute rocket ship up where now, 90% of the population owns a cell phone. But when it got to about 80, 85%, it slowed down to go from, up to 90, 95%, 100%. Nothing ever gets to 100%. But the main thing that I want to show you guys is that basically right here, we are right at the end of this slow growth cycle, in my opinion. And we're ready to hit stage 2. And that is why I believe that we are going to have an extended altcoin season. I think we're going to see Bitcoin continue to make new all-time highs for a little while to come. And for the first time in cryptocurrency cycle history, I think 2026 could be an amazing year for crypto, because I also believe, guys, I also very much believe, part of the reason for my belief in this is I believe that we are going to see a lot of rate cuts in 2026. A lot of things happen in 2026 to boost the economy. And I think it's going to be massive for investment markets and for cryptocurrency. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I could be wrong. But in my opinion, where some people, their belief is it's time to start de-risking, in my opinion, it's time to start considering to add to some of your riskier positions. Now, having said that, I do want to make it clear that when I'm talking about small amounts of money, so where Crypto Bullseye and I differ a little bit, like he's saying if he had $1,000 to invest, he might throw $5 at something like Mind AI, where I'm a little bit more bullish. I would throw more like $100, 10% if I had 1,000, or maybe even 20%, a couple $100, so that if we hit one of these tokens that does 100x, it actually changes the wealth needle in your life. If you turn $5 into 500, that's not that, that's not going to do that big of a deal. But if you turn 200 into 20,000, that can be, pretty massive, especially if you have the ability to flip that into a different asset and get some more results. So my investment strategy right now, guys, is, let me get over. So my investment strategy would be, if I had $1,000, I would still, we haven't had the major run-ups. XRP has had a major run-up because it had been suppressed for so long, but it's still below its all-time high. And so I think it's got a ways to run. But if you look at other tokens, Solana is another one that it reclaimed its previous all-time high, but it's knocked down quite a ways. But a lot of tokens, Cardano here at 77 cents, I think is a great buy. SWE at 380, I think is good. I think Stellar, still way below its all-time high. Chainlink, way below its all-time high. Hedera here at a quarter. Avalanche, pick a coin. If you don't like any of the coins I'm talking about, pick your own coins. Uniswap. Uniswap, I got into a trade on Uniswap down at $5 or $6. And I wrote it up and I made, I think it was a little over 1,000% or 1,500%. I literally turned a $33 trade into about a $200 profit, I think it was. Polkadot at $3.84, great token. So I would be taking the bulk of my money and putting them into tokens like this. Ondo. This is another one. I know Deadwood's watching. Deadwood would tell you can't have enough Ondo. I agree with him. This token is at 95 cents right now. And if you look at it here, not that long ago, it was at $2.14. So, tokens like Ondo. Another token, ICP here at $5.41. Caspa at 9 cents. Algorand at a quarter. VeChain, this is one of my sleeper picks. VeChain at 61 and at 2.4 cents. If you look at VeChain, and we go over, so if you look at the year chart, this all the way back here in this is December of 2024. It went all the way up to 6.8 cents. But this is a token you can see here. Its all-time low was March 13th of 2020. But part of the reason for that was it did a 100-to-1 reverse split. So literally its all-time low was earlier. This token has been around since about 2017. 2018 is when I bought it for the very first time. But look at this. It is up to over 28 cents on April of 2021. So it's down 91%. In my opinion, this is going to get back up to and probably surpass all-time highs during this altcoin season. So while Mind AI isn't a token that I would probably be throwing 800 of my $1,000 at, I would be throwing $50, $100, $200 at it. And then I would be picking some of these tokens. Render is another one that is, that looks like a great token that people are pretty excited about. This SPX 900. Now we're starting to get down a little bit more into, some mid caps in a sense, but another one that's high up on my list. I don't know where it is now. Let's see if we can find it here. It's not in the top 100, but another token that, in my opinion, is a very good risk reward is Aerodrome Finance. Aerodrome, where is it at? So Aerodrome is at 81 cents at a $700 million market cap. Its all-time high back in December was $2.32. So those are the tokens that I would be trying to dollar cost average and get bigger positions in, along with some of the microcap gems. So has anybody, I'm not seeing anybody having put anything into the chat. So do me a favor, guys. You don't have to tell me how much, but is there anybody here watching this stream that is going to donate even $1 to this Mr. Morrow, his rent fund? If you're going to donate even $1 to Mr. Morrow, do me a favor, throw a 1 in the chat. This is kind of anonymous. Most people don't know who your real life persona is. And I just want to see if there's anybody that their heartstrings were tugged on a little bit and that have been, maybe, thinking about it and want to even just throw $1 in this young man's direction. So if you are going to give $1 or more to this young man at some point in time today after the show is over, I'd love to hear about it. Throw a 1 in the chat if that sounds like something that you want to do. The next token that I want to talk about, if nobody else has one in here, is if I go back here to the Infinite Agape website. Don't you dare throw a 1 in the chat and then not follow through either. So don't put a 1 in the chat unless you're serious. But another token that I wanted to take a quick look at was this Metaplex. So it says right here, it provides infrastructure used to create every token and NFT on Solana. So let's go take a look at Metaplex, MPLX. It does have a Binance Smart Chain contract address there. That's a good thing, because you got to be able to, it's got to have a Binance Smart Chain. But look at this. This is not a small token necessarily, $143 million market cap. It's mostly on the Solana network. Market-wise, though, you can get it in quite a few places. You can get it on Coinbase Exchange, which is pretty huge. You can get it on PancakeSwap, which is nice, and then several different exchanges. You can also get it on Orca here, which is a DEX on Solana. You can get it on Gate. You can probably get it on Jupiter and a couple other places on Solana too, would be my guess. So it's easy to get a hold of this token. It's at 17 cents right now. You can see here over the last 30 days, like a lot of altcoins, it's up 40%, up 9% just in the last week. High here was 89 cents. So it's down about 80 cents from its all-time high, or 80% from its all-time high. So if you go here, not to the market, excuse me, if we go here to the website, the metaplex.com, what do we got going on here? Metaplex. Launch tokens on Solana and the SVM. So I'm not exactly sure who put this into the chat, or exactly who nominated this token. I would love, I need to do a better job of, after the fact at least, while we're doing the voting, I want it to remain anonymous, but maybe I need to create a group. So I would love to I would love to have the person maybe that nominated this project come on and tell us a little bit about it. Maybe I'll start inviting some of the nominators to come on and give us an idea of why they nominated a token and what they really like about a particular project. So this website doesn't give me a whole lot to go on. You got developers, contact. What do we have on the menu here? It's still kind of, I don't know what to think. Guides. Let's click on guides and see what they say here. So learn how to transfer SPL tokens on Solana using JavaScript. This guide provides a detailed setup with the Metaplex's UMI client covering wallet configuration, package installation, and the creation of function to execute token transfers, transfer SOL, and so on and so forth. So this kind of goes through a little bit more about the protocol and exactly, how to create an asset. Learn how to create NFTs on Solana with Metaplex's core token metadata and bubblegum standards. This guide covers each standards feature, use cases, and benefits, enabling developers to choose the right protocol for their NFT projects on Solana. Awesome. Interesting. So I don't have I really don't know what to say about this project. It's hard for me to decipher from what I'm looking at as to whether or not this is something that is a good investment or not. So off the top of my head, I would say I probably wouldn't invest in this because looking at the website just didn't get me excited. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't really explain to me what the project is all about, its mission, what it's trying to accomplish. And so, I would love to know who nominated this project and maybe get a little bit more of their input and come back to it. Mr. Eric Bernstein, man, God bless you, my friend. Thank you so much for the donation, no matter how big or small it is. It is really super, super appreciated, man. You don't know how much it means to me that you stepped up and that you're doing that. So thank you very much. If anybody else is feeling led to give $1 or $2 or $5 or $25 or whatever, the biggest donation that I've received so far is $125. Now I understand that guy's doing relatively well in life, but still $125. And he wasn't even there. Like, he just doing that because it's my birthday. And, and I told him, hey, man, I would rather not have presents. I would rather not have you get me anything, but if you would want to donate something to this incredible young man, Morrow, that would be awesome. I didn't tell him any type of an amount. He just Venmo'd me $125 out of the goodness of his heart. So thank you very much, Eric. We'll get together afterwards and get that situated. It looks like, let me see. Oh, hey, man, Dave P. just sent some funds over to the Sol address. God bless you, Dave P. Man, thank you very much. That reminds me, guys, we had an incredible small men's group last night. There was just 3 of us, but we had a really amazing time, getting to know each other and getting into a little bit of the Word of God last night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I really, I invite all of you guys to be a part of that. Is that in this description? Yeah. So join us Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. This is a men's group only, but don't worry, ladies. My amazing wife Deana has you covered. I put the link to her group in the Telegram group. So last night when we were getting ready to have our group, so if you're in the Telegram group, and I want to say thank you so much for all of the happy birthday wishes that I woke up to this morning. That was amazing. But so this is, if you're in the Telegram group and you are a lady that would like to join my wife's group, this link right here is for you guys. Right above that, the one with this crazy picture of me, this is the link that will get you into my group. I need to add my wife's link to this description, but the link is also right here. So if you hit this Wealthy Kingdom link, It's going to take you right here to this page where you can view a little bit about the group, and you can actually, you'll have, this should say join here where it says view group. You can join our group, and you can get together with an incredible group of men that are just looking to do better in life. Yeah, we're going to talk about God. Yeah, you're going to learn more about the Bible, but you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to be a Christian in order to be a part of the group, because let's face it, fellas, ladies too, we all have challenges, things that are going on in our lives. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it doesn't feel like you have anybody there to listen. I mean, you know, I don't want to throw my friends under the bus, but you know, my wife and I were talking yesterday, and I don't know if any of you feel like this, but you know, like she's got about 1,000 friends on Facebook, and a lot of those friends are pretty close friends. A lot of them are people that go to our church. A lot of them are people that, you know, that we think really care about us. And I'm not judging them. I'm not down on them. But the simple fact is, my wife, you know, told me, man, I feel so alone. She's like, none of my friends are reaching out to me. We're going through this IVF journey. I starting this Bible study. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like, I'm making posts. My wife is, you know, trying to start a cottage bakery, which is like an at-home bakery. And just long story short, man, she's putting these Facebook posts out, and like nobody is responding. Nobody is saying, hey, Deanna, yeah, I'd like to step up and support your new business. I'll order a dozen cookies, or I'll order a cake. You know, with her IVF journey, you know, she's selling some stuff that she doesn't need anymore, because we're raising funds for our IVF journey. It's going to cost in the ballpark $10,000 to $15,000 in order to do all of the medical procedures and everything that we need to do to hopefully be blessed with a baby. And, you know, she put out a couple of Facebook posts, even just, you know, asking for prayers and support, and just crickets. And so, you know, sometimes it feels like when your closest friends and the people that should be there checking on you, and that's the other thing, she hasn't even got any text messages saying, hey, how you doing? Anything that I can pray for you about? Is there anything going on in your life that, you know, that you would like, you know, a shoulder to cry on, or a shoulder, somebody to talk to? So my point, folks, is in one session last night with the two guys that showed up, the three of us formed a bond, and we were able to talk about some incredible things. And as we get, you know, we've got 7 people in the group already, and two of you made it last night. But as we become more consistent, we get 10, 15 people coming on a regular basis. You're going to develop some incredible friendships, and you're going to develop friendships with people that are there for you, that are hopefully checking on you, that are texting you saying, hey, Brad, you know, yesterday in the Bible study, you talked about this, this, and this. And come Friday or Saturday, I'm going to get a text saying, man, I hope you're doing great, Brad. Is there anything that I can pray for you about? Is there what any updates? Like you talked about, you know, your IVF treatment on Tuesday night. How's that going? Anything new? And just my point is the friendships and the camaraderie, and just feeling welcome and having a safe place. We don't record these sessions. It's all anonymous. You know, I made it very clear yesterday that anything that we talk about there is private. It's, you know, it's just between us. So anyways, I didn't mean to go off on, you know, a tangent there. But I, you know, those Bible studies are awesome. And I really would love to have as many of you that can, you know, that can make it at 6 p.m. I know a lot of you that are watching the show are, you know, across the world, and it's in the middle of the night for you. But man, I tell you what, even if it's 2 or 3 in the morning, set your alarm, wake up, miss out on an hour of sleep, get into that Bible study, and then go back to bed. I tell you, the hour of sleep or so that you miss will be well worth, you know, the spiritual feeding that we get in there. So if, you know, if God puts it on your heart to be a part of this, go join that group. Like I say, the link is right here in the top of the description. Larry says, happy birthday, Brad. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. There's too many happy birthdays to go over everybody, but man, man, you guys have made me feel extremely, extremely loved today. So thank you so much for that. And then once again, thank you, Eric, and thank you, Dave P, for stepping up and helping this amazing young man. I tell you, I'd love to get a little video of him, because I bet you he's going to break down and cry, break down with tears in his eyes when he finds out the love that my community has showered upon him, the love that my friends and family and the people that are close to me have shown this man that don't even know him. It's one thing for me to love on him because I got to be good friends with him over the course of those 4 days. I spent a lot of time with him. But for you guys to step up and basically just give to a stranger, just give to him because you care about me and you want to see, somebody else help that's a whole stranger to you. I know that that's going to be extremely touching to him. You're also showing the power of God. You're showing him the love of God, because there's just no other way to explain why perfect strangers like Eric and Dave and people that are giving to this young man would do it, other than just the love of God being showered out upon him. So thank you all very much. I'm still not seeing anybody in the chat that's got a token that they want me to look at. And so if nobody's got any tokens that they would like me to take a look at, I'm going to look at one more. And then we're going to go have a fantastic day today. I'm going to enjoy my birthday. Little more housekeeping. So that reminds me, guys, I'm leaving on a family reunion trip. Going to be driving for about 15, 16, 17 hours to get to a place called Sun Lakes, Eastern Washington. So on the off chance that anybody watching this show lives anywhere near Sun Lakes, Eastern Washington, like Moses Lakes is a city about an hour from where I'm going to be. Soap Lake and Ephrata are pretty close. If somehow, by some miracle, one of the viewers here lives in one of those areas and would like to meet up for lunch or get together and meet in person, I'm going to be in that area from Sunday to Sunday of this coming week. Now, what that means, this is a lakeside, like campground resort. We're actually renting like a mobile home, but the internet is very, very spotty. Like in previous years, there was no cell phone service. There was no internet. I literally had to get in my car and drive about 2-3 miles to be able to look at my cell phone and actually make a call. Now, in the last couple of years, they have added some Wi-Fi, but it's not a strong enough signal, I don't think, to run a live stream like this. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm making an announcement that next week's live streams are probably not going to happen. At least they're not going to probably happen at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There is some possibility that I might be able to drive out of the resort later in the day, early evening, and be able to connect with you guys. I hate to miss a whole week of live streams and stuff, but for right now, I just want you guys to all know there's a pretty reasonable chance we won't have this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday live stream at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll keep you updated in the socials. But this is one of those vacations where I really try to unplug and almost just forget about all of the stresses of life. I'm not going to worry about the price of the AGAPE token. I'm not going to worry about how my cryptocurrency trades are doing. I'm not going to worry about anything except for spending time with my loved ones. The group of people that I'm getting to hang out with are people that I don't normally get to see. Some of them, it's been a couple of years since I've seen them. Some of them, it's been longer. But anyways, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to be not a real productive week next week for crypto. And I just kind of wanted to give you guys all a heads up. What token did I want to look at? So I want to go back to a token that we talked about a few months ago on this on the channel. There is a gentleman named Deadwood. I don't know if he's still with us here today or not, but this is Deadwood here. Told us about this token, and he told us about this token, guys. Oh, hey, yeah, we could talk about Deana real quick too. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so alien base though. Deadwood told us about this token right about here when it was sitting down at right around this one or maybe it's a little higher. What did it go? It went all the way up to about 50 cents or so. So he told us at about 5 cents, I guess it was. So he told us at about 5 cents, probably 16 cents there. So all the way back here in around, call it October of last year, right in this ballpark, and maybe even earlier. So right here, where is it? 5 cents. So right here, in the beginning of October, probably somewhere in this ballpark, maybe even further back, September, 4 to 5 cents. He told us about this token. It rocket shipped all the way here in December, as you can see, or closing in on December, November 27th, up to 56 cents. We made over a 10x on this. And I sold my position. I got in at 5 cents. I sold it about 55 cents. But this thing is retraced all the way back down, sitting at about 6.18 cents right now. This is a DEX on base. And, because the Infinite Agape token has been let me see, that didn't work very well, did it? Let's try this one more time. So base is a DEX, or excuse me, alien base is a DEX on the base layer 1 platform. And I was saying that because of the Infinite Agape token, we've talked a lot more about Binance Smart Chain recently than a lot of other tokens. But we still have a huge belief in the base ecosystem. And I'm in fact, like, the Infinite Agape token is going to get moved over and be on Solana and going to be on base one of these days in the not too distant future. And so I'm excited to, start nominating projects on the base network, because I think there's a lot of money to be made on the base network. But this DEX here is a big DEX. But the thing about it, like, if you see here, it's only got an $11 million market cap. Its competitor, Aerodrome, we just said, had a $700 million, right? Yeah, $700 million market cap. So this thing here, ALB, Alien Base, is a great DEX on the base network. And I think it's just a matter of time that base is going to become one of the #1 networks, in my opinion, right there with Avalanche, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum. It's going to be in those conversations. And I believe that this alien base could potentially be a massive profit center when we're talking about something that's only at an $11 million market cap. Let's take a look at another token here. So if you go to PancakeSwap, which I think we would all agree is the #1 DEX on the Binance Smart Chain network, it's at 965 million. But look at this, it's at $2.80. At its peak, it was $43. So that's not quite a 20x. But that means that this thing was probably about a $15 billion market cap at its peak. Now, obviously, in my opinion, Uniswap is for sure the king of kings when it comes to DEXs. This thing is sitting at a $6 billion market cap. But look at its all-time high was $44. So at $44, this thing would have been 4.5x that. So that was at a $25 billion market cap. So when you've got a token like Alien Base here, this sitting at a $11 million market cap, let's just do a little math here real fast, guys. Let's do 11,000 or 11 million, excuse me. 11 million times 1,000. That would take it to $11 billion market cap. We just showed you where, Uniswap at its peak was 25 billion. Binance Smart Chain at its peak was, 10, 15 billion. Even Aerodrome is at 700 million, and it's roughly 3x below its all-time high. So it would be 2.4 billion. So we're talking about, if you're looking for a token like 100x, only takes it, let's do this again. We take 11 million times 100. That's only $1.1 billion. So my point is, if you're looking for an opportunity to potentially get yourself 1,000x on a token, Alien Base is one of those that has potential. Now, it also has the potential to go to zero. I wouldn't bet the farm, but you don't need a whole lot of money in on a token that's got the potential to do 1,000x. Let's face it, a lot of the cryptocurrencies out there that we love probably aren't going to 1,000x, maybe even in our lifetimes. There's some tokens out there, like if you wanted to convince me that, that something like a V-Chain or a Caspa or a H-Bar or like a Chainlink could potentially 1,000x over the next 30 years, I would say that's not impossible. It's not going to happen in this bull market or the next bull market, though. My point is high risk, high reward. But when you're looking for something like a microcap gem that has the potential, like I say, 100x is not that far out of the question. That's only $1 billion market cap, 100x. So do with that what you will. But if you're looking for a play that looks solid to me and that looks like potential for a massive run up, someplace to throw $100 or $500 or $1,000, Alien Base is a token that I really like the looks of. If you are still here, Deadwood, I would love for you to chime in on Alien Base. You were the one that found it for us. Let me know in the chat if you're still here, if you like what you're seeing here. So, Dia, we talked about Dia last week. This was a token. In fact, I keep forgetting. This is a token that I want to nominate for. I want to nominate Dia for the Infinite Agape project. So this is not a microcap gem, but it's only at $98 million market cap. You can see here, we did an interview not too long ago with Dia. They're up 113% since that interview 4 months ago. So congratulations to those of you that watched that live stream and that got in on the Dia project. You've done very, very well. It's stagnated out a little bit here over the last week, but definitely an incredible project. You can get it on Binance. You can get it on Coinbase. That's something else that I love about it. Say what you will, but Binance and Coinbase, even though they're putting more tokens on their exchange than they used to, they still are much pickier than your MEXCs and some of these smaller exchanges. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that this isn't on MEXC. That's kind of crazy. But the fact that it's on Coinbase and Binance, in my opinion, give it a lot of credibility. And then one of the things that I love about this project, if you look at it, it's an oracle. Trustless oracles for any asset. Dia oracles power on-chain use cases with verifiable data feeds for any digital or real-world asset. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you think that AI and real-world assets are probably going to be two of the most explosive, sectors of crypto, not only during this bull market, but probably in the next bull market too. Let me know in the chat. And if there's something else that you think is going to perform better than AI and real world assets, please type that into the chat. So look at all of those ones. They're coming in. Now, I also tricked you guys Anybody that put a 1 in the chat also has to make a donation to the Morrow Fund. No, I'm just kidding you. I'm kidding. Put the 1 in the chats. This is a different one. But if you really believe that AI and real world assets are going to be the 2 biggest sectors, the 2 biggest growths of crypto, please put a 1 in the chat. And for those of you that really have, if you think something else that we need to know about, if there's something else that I need to know about, please put it in the chat. If there's a sector that you believe is poised for even bigger growth than AI and real world assets, please, please, please put it in the chat, because I want to know about it. But I think that oracles, Chainlink is an oracle, and Chainlink is a token that if I wanted to buy a token today and I wanted to own it for 30 years and give it to my grandkids and my children, Chainlink is one of the tokens that I would do that with. Bitcoin is another one that I think you can do that with, Ethereum potentially, maybe XRP, but Chainlink is one of those tokens, and it is an oracle. And so I just, I really love this project. And so I appreciate you again for bringing this to the forefront of our mind. And I think that we need to get in touch with them from the Infinite Agape token perspective, maybe even do a little bit of an airdrop. I think that these guys would be incredible to have promoting the Infinite Agape token. So thank you very much, Dave. And I'm making a note here to reach out. I literally, I still have the group, because we always create a Telegram group with these projects before we do the interview, and we talk amongst each other, and we, sort out all the details. It also turns out that one of the guys that is the main head of marketing for this project is a guy that I met way back in 2018. He actually, this is kind of a cool story. This gentleman, his name is Anze, Anze. This gentleman actually is responsible for a lot of the money that I made in my first major bull run. So if you guys haven't heard the story and you got a quick minute, this gentleman owned a project way back in the day called Zeepin, Zeepin, Zeepin. Unfortunately, it didn't last. It went under. But the Zeepin token did an airdrop of a token called Gala, Gala, and not Gala Games, a different token. And Anze Zeepin is his last name. Anze Zeepin, he was the founder. And long story short, when that airdrop came out for the Gala token, it wasn't on any exchanges. And a lot of people wanted this token. And so one of my mentors, in fact, the guy that got me into crypto, put out a message in his private group, and he said that he wanted 100,000 of these Gala tokens, and he was willing to pay 5 cents a piece for them. So at this point in time in my crypto journey, I literally only had a couple $1,000s in crypto, $2,000-3,000 in crypto. I had only been in crypto for a couple of short months. And long story short, I'm a go-getter. This is one of the things, I'm going to switch over here to full screen, because there's a lot of lessons in this story. I'm glad that this got brought up, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this. Some of you might have heard this story before, but guys, this is how you become wealthy in life. This is how you become successful. In this private group, where my mentor said that he would pay 5 cents a token for these Gala tokens, there was 30 or 40 other people in the group. And I'm the only one that saw opportunity. I'm the only one that a light bulb went off in my head on how I could help my buddy. He was happy to pay a nickel. So I wasn't ripping my friend off. He put in the chat, I will pay 5 cents a piece for 100,000 of these tokens. So I went into the Zeepin Telegram group that was then creating a Gala Telegram group. And all of the people that were invested in Zeepin token got this airdrop of this Gala token. And I started putting messages in the Telegram that group that I was interested in buying the Gala token. And there was 40 people in that group, and I'm the only one that did it. So real quick, before I finish the story, what opportunities are you letting pass you by, guys? What opportunities are you not seeing because you haven't trained your brain to look for opportunities? I'm getting a little bit into like more of a Monday mindset, but this might be the most valuable part of today's whole video. Listen to me closely. So I get into the Telegram group and I start putting out messages. Hey, I want to buy Gala tokens. And I start getting DMs. And I probably went too high. I think I could have got this token for half a cent, to be genuine with you guys. But I offered people a penny. And I started having people say, yeah, but how do we do it? So back then, there was no such thing as there was no smart contracts. We couldn't, somebody had to send first. And whoever sent first had to trust the person to send back. So I was pretty intelligent. I realized, let's say that a guy had 100,000 Gala tokens at a penny a piece, that's $1,000. There's no way I'm going to send somebody that I don't know, a stranger, $1,000 and just hope and pray that they send me the 100,000 tokens back. So what I would do, it was more like, somebody had 10,000 of these Gala tokens. People had them in 5,000, 10,000 amounts. So what I would do, so I'm giving this guy $100 for 10,000 Gala tokens. But what I did is back then there was a token called Neo that everybody was excited about. And it was about 65, 75, 85, maybe even back then it might have even been like $100 token. But rather than send this guy one Neo and hope that he sent me back the 10,000 Gala, there was a gas token that was a part of the Neo blockchain. There was a gas token that was worth $25. So this is another situation, guys, where risk versus reward. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I'm not going to send this guy $25 and then have him rip me off. But you got to remember, if these deals worked out, I'm paying $1,000 for these tokens and I'm selling them for $5,000. So even if I got ripped off a little bit, which I did, I'll tell you, a little bit more about that. But even if I get ripped off a little bit, I got a lot of wiggle room. So long story short, what we would do is instead of the guy sending me, 10,000 tokens and me sending him $100, I would send 25. So nobody wanted to send first. I had to be the man and say, hey, I will send first and trust you. So that was the second part. A lot of people saw opportunity, but they weren't willing to take any risk. I saw the $25 risk as the reward was well worth the risk that this person might walk away. I also had a pretty good strategic thing. I came up with a little paragraph. When we made the deal, I said, hey, I'm going to send to you first, but I want you to know, I'm a successful businessman and there's potential to do a lot of deals over the years. And for you to rip me off for $25 would be very short-sighted. It would be very stupid of you to steal $25 from me and blow the relationship that could end up making you tens of thousands of dollars over the years. And now here we are 8 years later, and some of those original people that I bought tokens from are still my friends and are still benefiting from our relationship. But anyways, I sent them $25, a gas token for $25. They send me back $2,500 in Gala. I send another gas. They send me another $2,500 in Gala. We do that 4 times. Now I've got 10,000 Gala built up. Now I've got another guy DMing me, messaging me that wants to sell Gala. And I did that over and over and over. And in about a 5 or 6 hour period of time, I got a hold of the 100,000 tokens. It was the most money up to that point in my life that I'd ever made in one day. Now, the cool thing about this, folks, guys, hear me here, is I told my buddy, so I started getting more and more people. And then they realized that I was trustworthy. I was sending the money first. Other people were telling people in the chat, Brad's legit. He did exactly what he said he would. He's a good guy. So all of a sudden, I had access to another 100,000 gala. I had the first 100,000 procured, and I now had access to another 100,000. So I messaged back my buddy and I said, hey, would you want 200,000 of these tokens for 10 grand? And he said, absolutely. So I now went out and I sold every crypto I had. I'm not kidding you. I went on to Binance and I sold every cryptocurrency I'd ever bought, every dollar's worth of crypto that I ever had into gas. And I went and bought this other 100,000 in tokens. And long story short, at the end of the day, my buddy sent me $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, Ethereum, VeChain, Cardano, and different tokens. $10,000. I made $7,500 in one day, less than a day, 6, 7, 8 hours. 40 other people were in that group. And none of them saw the opportunity that I saw. And that opportunity, that little decision to do that, now my buddy told some other people in the private group, there was other people that wanted this gala, because at the time, if you owned a gala, you could buy these planets, and they had a staking feature and they spit off more gala. So long story short, my buddy starts telling people in the private group, hey, if you want gala, Brad's the guy. And then he didn't want me to sell all of my crypto like I did for him, because on the off chance that that had gone up a bunch, I wouldn't have made any money. Luckily, I was able to replace all my crypto and get the $7,500 worth of crypto from him. But long story short, he trusted me so much that he told these people, hey, you have to pay him up front. So I started having people pay me $5,000 up front. They send me $5,000 in Bitcoin, and I would go out and buy $100,000 or 100,000 gala for them. Sometimes I paid a little more than a penny. Sometimes I paid a little bit less. But overall, I made about $25,000, $30,000 selling gala, buying it from one person, selling it to other people. And that, long story short, that developed into an OTC business. So for those of you that don't know, back in 18 and 19, before decentralized exchanges started popping up, most tokens took 3 months, 6 months, a year to get onto Binance, to get onto KuCoin, to have liquidity. So there was a bunch of people that had private sale tokens that got delivered to them, because it was ICO mania back then. They had all these private sale tokens and there was no liquidity. So I created a OTC group where you could put an ad in the group. You would put like WTS, want to sell, and then the name of the token, how many of the token you wanted to sell, and how much per token you wanted to sell them for. And then I'm scrolling down through the Telegram page, and if I see a token that I want to buy and I like your price, I DM you. We go back and forth, negotiate a little bit. We come to an agreement. And now at that point in time, once two people came to an agreement, they would DM me and say, hey, Brad, we got a deal. I would create a group and add those two people to the group. Person A would say, hey, I'm selling $1,000 of XYZ token. The second person would say, yes, that's correct. I'm buying the 1,000 in XYZ token, and I'm going to pay with Bitcoin or Ethereum or Neo, whatever it was. And long story short, we would get the details together, and then I would give them my wallet address. One guy would send me $1,000 worth of his token. Another guy would send me the $1,000 worth of the Bitcoin. And then I would make the switch, and I would keep a percentage. I charged a small escrow fee to do that. That turned into a massive business. That was one of the reasons that I could afford to buy crypto in 18, in 19, in 20, as it all went down. All of my positions were down 75 to 99%, but I was able to afford to keep buying crypto in those years because my OTC business was mostly what was creating the income to do that. My job was still paying my bills and my life, but my side hustle, this trust that I had created in the community, did you catch that? Do you understand? I went from being the guy that always sent first to the guy that never sent first, because I had the reputation and I owned the channel. So everybody sent funds to me. Do you realize at one point in time, one of my biggest transactions was a guy sent me $100,000 worth of NEX, NEX. It was an exchange on the Neo blockchain. Unfortunately, it never really took off. But back in 2018, it was one of the hottest ICOs ever. Long story short, I have two guys from other parts of the country. I wasn't even doxed and vetted the same way that I am now. I didn't own a YouTube channel. Like literally, they sent me $200,000, $100,000 a piece. And I could have turned off my computer and walked away, and they couldn't have done anything. That's how much trust I had in the community. They sent me $200,000. And of course, I made the switch. But I built this incredible reputation. I built this incredible business that unfortunately decentralized exchanges basically put me out of business. But that all came from me seeing an opportunity when one person said, hey, I'm willing to pay 5 cents a piece for this token. And a light bulb went off in my head. And I said, well, let's see what we can go buy this token for. I mean, even if I would have had to pay 4 cents a piece for the token, I would have been making, 20, 25% in a very short period of time. But I was literally able to make, $7,500 in one day. And then when these other people started giving me $5,000 at a time, it never took me usually more than a few hours to buy the Neo. So, and then with my OTC business was the next time that I had my best producing day. I had about 3 different days in my OTC business where I made $10,000 in escrow fees, because these hot coins would come out and there would be tens of thousands of dollars worth of them that got sent to the private investors. And then there would be 10, 20, 50, 100 people in my OTC group that wanted to buy these tokens. And I was doing transactions all day long. And then I found out part of the reason I made so much money was there was another group kind of similar to mine. And there was some arbitrage. There was people going into this other group and they were buying these tokens for, say, 80 cents. And then they were coming over to my group and selling them for $1. So I kind of wondered what was going on, but there would be a guy in the Telegram group, say, we'll call him, whatever, Joe Blow 22. He'd pop in and he'd say, hey, I got 10,000 of these tokens, selling them for $1 a piece, 10,000 bucks. Somebody would buy those tokens from him. Like half an hour later, he'd be back. I got 10,000 of these tokens, selling them for $1 a piece. I found out later on he was buying, $8,000 worth of tokens in this other group, coming over and selling them for 10,000 in my group. I didn't care. But, the cool thing about that story, and what I want to reiterate, is that there's opportunity everywhere. The most money that I made in one day from what I would consider work, if you want to call it work, is I got involved in a private group and I built some relationships, and I had a guy come to me with a ICO opportunity where, because this group was going to be buying a massive amount of this company's ICO, we got in at 10 cents. It was going to launch at 50 cents. And so I went out. This, the other cool thing about this story, guys, is other people's money. And sometimes you don't ever even have to use your own money. So I wanted to buy $10,000 worth of these tokens, but at the time I didn't have $10,000 liquid. So as soon as the deal was put into place, I was told that I had a couple hours to come up with the 10 grand. So I immediately went to 10 or 15 people in my network that I knew liked to invest in ICOs. I went to them and I told them, hey, this is the ICO. This is all of the details. Do a little bit of research. It's going to launch at 50 cents. I can get you the token at 40 cents. So once again, maybe there's a few of you on here that are like, oh, Brad, what a scumbag. Like, you got the token for 10 cents and you sold it for 50 cents. Yeah. You know, let's just say, guys, let's say that you had an opportunity to buy a 1965 Corvette Stingray convertible, rare Corvette, one of my favorites. You had an opportunity. It's a $100,000 car. And for whatever reason, you got an opportunity, you know, to buy it for 20 grand. If you bought that car for $20,000 and then you went and sold it to somebody for $80,000, would you feel bad? Like, why should they get it for 20 grand just because you did? Like, it's worth 100 grand. You still gave them the car at a $20,000 discount. And if they wanted this Corvette Stingray bad and they were willing to pay 100 grand for it, they're thrilled. And the person that was willing to sell it to you for the 20 grand, for whatever reason, they're happy. They got their 20 grand. You got to quit looking at situations where you're making a profit, and you got to quit feeling like you're taking advantage of people. That is business. You know, if it's the same thing like in wholesaling. So, you know, in real estate, there's wholesalers. So you go out, you'll find a distressed property. You find a property, for instance, that, you know, maybe the parents passed away and the children inherited the house, and they want to just sell it, and they want to sell it quick, and they don't want to go in and have to deal with all of the garbage and painting and carpets and blah, blah, blah. So you're able to say, buy a $300,000 house for $225,000. And you ain't got 225 grand. So what you do is you get it under contract, and you have an opportunity then where you get it under contract, but you have 2 weeks to come up with the money. Now you go to people that you know want to invest in real estate, and you tell them, hey, I will sell you this house for 245 grand. And they look at it and they're like, okay, it's a $300,000 house. If I give Brad 245 for it, it's going to cost me $20,000 to fix it up. And then I can sell it for 300 grand. I'm going to make $35,000. Once again, everybody's happy. The homeowner's happy because they got their $225,000 and they're just out from underneath it. You're happy because you sold it for 245. You made 20 grand. The guy that you sold it to is happy because you got it to him for 245 when it was worth 3. It only cost him 20 to fix it up, so he made 35. So guys, that's how business is. So if you would have felt bad, if you would have had an opportunity to get into this ICO at 10 cents, and it's selling at 50 cents when it goes to the public, and probably from there it's going to double or triple to $1, $1.50. If you would have felt bad selling it at 40 cents, I would implore you to take a closer look at yourself and wonder why. That's business. The guys that were getting it at 40 cents were extremely happy. And long story short, I was able to buy $10,000 worth and sell it for 40 grand in less than an hour. I had 2 hours to raise the 10 grand. In less than an hour, I had $40,000 in my bank account or in crypto wallets. I forwarded the 10 grand for the ICO tokens, and I literally made $30,000 in less than a day. That's the most money that I ever made in one day. And it was all because I saw an opportunity. There's some people that were in that private group that bought some of the token. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know of anybody else that started making phone calls and selling it at 40 cents and raised the money and made $30,000 in profit overnight like I did. Most of the people just look at it as an opportunity to buy a little bit for themselves. Once again, it goes back to your mindset. That's why your mindset is so important. The way that you can think about opportunities. I do private sales with my community. To the best of my knowledge, I've mentioned this a few times. Not one of you has ever said, hey, Brad's got this ICO that he is raising funds for through his YouTube channel, through his private channels, and it's $1 token, and I'm going to go offer it to my network for $1.20. Like, you guys realize that if you were to raise $10,000 on a token at $1.20, so what's $10,000 divided by 120 is 8,333 tokens. And if you get $10,000 at $1 from me, that's 10,000 tokens. So 10,000 tokens minus $8,333. That's 1,667 tokens for you. And there's one of two ways you could play this. You could either send me, $8,333, which would cover the amount of tokens that you owed to your network, and you could just keep the $1,667, or you could send me the whole 10,000 and have 1,667 of those $1 tokens that you're free rolling on when it launches. Or you could split the difference. You could send me $9,000 and keep $1,000 cash and have, 667 tokens for you. To the best of my knowledge, I've explained this on a few different videos. To the best of my knowledge, not one of you has ever done that. And I'm not quite sure why, but that is another opportunity for you to help the people in your network, especially if you believe that it is a good ICO, that it is one that is going to launch and be successful. I mean, you don't want to just do it with any turd of an ICO and have it flop and have your network lose money. But if you've got good intentions and you believe it's going to be a profitable ICO, you think it's a $1 token at launch, and you thinking it can go to $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, then selling it at $1.20 is still doing your friends a favor, because 99% of your network probably wouldn't be able to get in on it if it wasn't for you. So that's just a little side note about, how you guys can start training your minds to look for opportunities and how you can figure out ways, especially if you're struggling to build your cryptocurrency portfolio to the level where you can get to life-changing money. If you're in a position where you're working paycheck to paycheck, and one of your biggest challenges is that you never have enough money to invest into the cryptocurrency projects that you want to be able to invest in, then these little things are opportunities and ways for you to create a massive portfolio that you can be free rolling on, to a certain extent. So, the most money that I ever made in one day was 30 grand. I don't really know. There's been a couple of ICOs where I've done pretty darn well. I forget the exact amounts. It's more than 30, but I don't remember the exact amounts. But one of them was the Gains token. You guys have heard me talk about the Gains token a bunch. I got $3,000 invested into the Gains token in its private sale, which was, I want to say, at around, I forget how many, I think it was 2.5 cents. And I ended up with about 75,000 Gains tokens. That project ran all the way up to about $1.80 at its peak, not too long after I got in on that private sale. I didn't sell my tokens at the peak. I sold them at closer to, 80 cents or something along those lines. But that's still, 80 cents times 65,000 tokens is about 50 grand. So that was a pretty good day for me too. I, invested 3,000 into those tokens and sold them, say, for about $50,000. Kept 10,000 tokens that I still have to this day. And now I back up, I own about 60,000 of those tokens because I'm in on their launch pads. So anyways, that was a pretty long story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, maybe it'll help to stimulate some ideas in your minds and create some creativity. Become more creative in figuring out ways that you can not only bolster your own crypto portfolio, but that you can, bolster your others. This is a great way. I had a lot of people, friends and family and coworkers and different people that had never really invested in crypto that have made some incredible money on some of the private sales that I have brought to them. You know, not too long ago, we got in on one called Otherverse that went from about 7.5 cents to $1.20 on day one. There was one gentleman that invested $5,000 into that token. The very next day when it launched, I sent him back a little over 9 grand, and he still had 92% of the tokens coming. His 8% that got delivered at launch turned into about 160% of what he invested or so. It did about a 20x, and he got 8%. Long story short, then he's been getting the rest, the 8%, for the last, for the last year. So there's a lot of opportunity where it's a great way to onboard new people to crypto and help them get started in crypto. And a lot of times I might have $1,000 minimum on my private sales because I don't want to have to send tokens to 20 people that invested $50 each, but maybe you don't got 1,000. So there's some of you that maybe have seen that $1,000 minimum and just said, nope, that's not for me. I can't do it. Well, what if you got 5 of your buddies to put in 200 each, or 4 of your buddies to put in 200, and you put in 200? Now you'd have that $1,000 minimum. So sometimes even just raising funds from other people can help you get enough together to where you can invest the 200 that you wanted to invest. So with that, stories are over. It's time to go do a little bit more business. I am going to be working for a while today for sure. But I do have a meeting here at 11 o'clock that I want to be on. So I want to give myself a few minutes to go enjoy that. So once again, thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for the birthday wishes. Thank you very much, Eric and Dave P, for donating to the mission. And then one last imploration, if you want to call it. Once again, I don't want to twist your guys' arms too hard, but I know that there's 20 or 30 of you on here today, and I appreciate the 2 of you that stepped up and are going to do something for Morrow, whatever that amount is. Would you guys, before we hop off of here, can I get 1 or 2 more of you that will commit to giving, even if it's just $1, $5, $10? Can I get 2 more of you that are saying, yeah, Brad, what the heck, man, it's your birthday, I will donate to this mission? I don't know why it's so important to you, Brad, but because it's so important to you, and I love you and I appreciate all that you do, I will step out of my comfort zone and I will do something. I will donate something towards this cause. Is there anybody that's willing to do that? Let me know in the chat if you are willing to step up and send even $1 or $2 or $5 or $10 to this incredible young man that is a part of this missions trip. Once again, I showed it before, but right here in the description of this video, you can send Solana, Ethereum. On MetaMask, you can send just about anything on any Polygon, Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, whatever base, whatever network you want to do. Just let me know. Let me know in a DM where to look at it for. If you're in the United States, you can send me money right here on Cash App or Venmo. So don't make me sit here for 15 minutes. Come on. There's got to be 1 or 2 more of you that's willing to step up and say, what the heck? I'll give a couple of dollars to this good cause. Let me know in the chat. Hey, there we go. Z-Daw, thank you very much, man. I know that you've been a huge blessing to this channel. You've been been a supporter of this channel for a long time. I consider you to be a good friend of the channel, and I appreciate you stepping up. One more, man. Anybody else that is willing to donate to this incredible cause and help this young man have enough money to be able to live this month to where he can go and not worry about how he's going to eat, how he's going to have a roof over his head, but he's going to just go help build these incredible houses. I mean, once again, like I said, these missions guys, they work more hours than most of us that have jobs. It's a full-time thing. They're not working part-time or working full-time and then just, volunteering to do the missions 1 day a week. They're literally 7 days a week. doing these missions. They have no other income. They're too busy with the mission to have a job. So they totally depend 100%, 100% on people like you and I's generosity. So I appreciate it, ZDA. It doesn't look like anybody else is feeling led to step up for now. So with that, I'm going to wish you guys an incredible rest of your week. I love you all. God bless you. If any of you change your mind after this live stream is over and do decide that you would like to donate something, please feel free to reach out to me in a DM and we will make it happen. On that note, once again, man, what an incredible, incredible birthday I have had so far. It's only 10:40 in the morning. And the amount of love that I have woke up to, my Facebook was full of messages. My Telegram group was full of messages. All of you guys that have been on here today with all of your happy birthday wishes and the love that you showered upon me. I am truly, truly, truly a very, very lucky, lucky man. And I love each and every one of you. And I look forward to seeing you again all very soon. Take care. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.